Chabad is open arms and no judgment.
Chabad welcome everybody. That's I like about Chabad.
Chabad is family first, and the children are so important.
Chabad is a family to me. The rabbi, his children, his wife.
Chabad really does beautiful work in the community.
Chabad was my first place that touched me personally and deeply in a place that was never touched before.
I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York, and just a few blocks away from the Rebbe. And when I was a little child, I was able to watch the Rebbe in action. And I always saw how the Rebbe cared so much about every single Jew, cared about humanity. Even as a child, I knew that when I grew up, one day, I would want to open up a Chabad house somewhere in the world that would take the Rebbe's vision further and spread the light of Judaism. In 2003, we got married, and when we met, we both had this shared vision and shared passion to do exactly that. And when our little baby Nechama was born, the opportunity came up for us to check out South County in this area to see if it would have the right potential to open up a Chabad house.
In May of 2005, we packed up belongings. A moving truck came and packed up our stuff from Brooklyn. We said goodbye to our families and to our friends, and we embarked on this life journey. Arriving in Northport, not knowing really anybody, by divine providence, we met the Popovetskys.
And you just came to meet us, and Sam said, I wish you luck. It's not a lot of Jewish people in this area.
I told to the rabbi, it's not a Sahid in this area. It's the Shtukin Eden do. It's me, no Jew in the West Coast. The rabbi tell me, oh, we're going to see. I tell him, good luck.
When I moved here in 1978, they didn't even know what matzah was.
Our goal, when we arrived, our goal was to meet every Jew in town. And slowly we got to know one person, another person. We started a service in our home for Shabbat. And then came the first Hanukkah. I remember clearly like yesterday. It was Hanukkah in 2005. And we made flyers and announcement that we're going to have a Hanukkah party at the Venice Community Center. We rented a hall. And we prepared for about 50, 60 people. And lo and behold, as the doors were opening, more and more people came in. 100, 150, 200 people showed up. We had to pull out more chairs, more tables, and we knew at that point that we were on for something.
We're from Rhode Island. We moved down here to Florida, and the doorbell rings, and it's Rabbi Schmerling. I open the door. The rabbi sees a canister of whiskey that I have off to the side on a bar. He says, let's make a l'chaim. I said, Rabbi, you want to make a l'chaim? You're my kind of rabbi. And from there, we were off to the races.
In that first year, there were two parents who approached me to open up a Hebrew school. And we started right in our lanai, in our home, and we literally had a Hebrew school on our lanai. We had classes around our table. Our dining room turned into a synagogue, and that's how we began.
My first memory at the Chabad, it was actually my first day of Hebrew school. I was with Lila's mother, my first teacher. She asked me what was the next holiday, and I replied with Christmas, because I was very young and I didn't know much. And everyone laughed, you thought it was funny and everything. And then ever since then, we just took off with learning stuff.
Our Hebrew school took off, and then that turned into our summer camp, our Camp Ganizi, and then that turned into our C-Team club. And before we knew it, all the youth programs were taking over this small little town like a blazing fire.
Growing up here, we live in a very small Jewish community, and I don't really get to meet many Jews. So the great thing about Camp Ganizi was it showed me that there's other people just like me. And it's amazing. Your kids learn so much about their Yiddishkeit. and they go on amazing adventures. There's a great staff that teaches them what it really means to be Jewish and make sure that they're proud of it as well.
I like coming to Hebrew school because I can learn Hebrew. We make cakes for the Shabbat dinner this Friday. I like coming to Hebrew school because we do some fun activities and we have a lot of fun facts and things and stories and crafts.
The thing I love best are the children. I love the kids, and I love to see them learn. I love to see the excitement that they have when they come in that door, and the environment that we have for them is so joyous. They're happy to be there. And I'm learning every time I go. I'm learning something, and it's easier to learn from the kids because it's easy for me to absorb.
It's really one of the main joys I have at Chabad. I love coming to school every week, and they're learning the alphabet for the first time. To see them learning the alphabet, putting letters together, the first time that they read a word that they've heard their whole lives, their eyes light up. I know that word. One of the most beautiful moments at Hebrew school was when the rabbi gathered all the children around and opened the Sefer Torah. And they all looked on as he pointed out the letters. And these are the very same alphabet that they're learning today. And they realize that the Torah was written thousands of years ago. It really brings it home to them.
If I could recommend anything to anyone in high school, I would recommend C-Teen. C-Teen is Chabad Teens. It's an international youth group. Our chapter is, it's always been very small. Small is not always a bad thing. I viewed our small C-Teen as more of a family. It gave us more time to connect. And just because we were small, that didn't mean we weren't strong. When we went places, you knew we were there. Shabbos dinners with the C-Teen were always a good one, a laugh. We played plenty of fun games. That was always a good one. Had some good arguments about religion. And it was overall just an amazing experience.
I think what got me with Chabad, the main thing was joy. There was no judgment. There was no, you don't know much. I started where I started, and the rabbi and his wife accepted me, and all I wanted to do was learn. One of the first things that I found with Chabad was the book club. When you're reading a book at the book club, and it's on Tuesdays, and I've gone every Tuesday, I think, since we've had a book club for, 13, 14 years now. We talk about each other, we talk about our lives, and we talk about, there's such depth in the discussions that we have. And Chaya Rivka is magnificent in taking a thought and discussing it with us to where we really understand it in the many levels.
There's so many people coming to the shul from the Soviet Union. The rabbi asked, do you have the bar mitzvah? He said, nobody have in Russia the bar mitzvah. And he told no. And in a couple minutes, we played the music and put the candy, and everybody celebrated. You go dancing around the bima, people 70-year-old. Anyway, celebrate the bar mitzvah.
I really hadn't been in shul for a decade, and I didn't want to go. But when I came here, I found a very warm environment, and I found a place where my spiritual side could be nurtured, could grow, blossom, and I've been coming ever since.
I was born and brought up conservative, and throughout my entire young and professional career, I was very involved in the Jewish community and Jewish organizations and fundraising and board of directors of temples, so on and so forth. But on a spiritual level, I really didn't have that personal connection. So I was, in a very real sense, more of a cultural Jew. And Chabad was my first place that touched me personally and deeply in a place that was never touched before. And I think it comes simply from taking the time to learn and to begin the process of reading the Torah, and then from there, other teachings.
The rabbi, his children, his wife, and members of the community have gotten me through great tragedy. As you may know, Myron was killed suddenly a few years ago, and there were people here for me because my family was far away. and didn't get here till the next day. But immediately I had people around me to support me and help me. It was the synagogue who helped me through the first week, the hardest week of my life.
About 5 years ago, my husband died, and I didn't know what to do next. So I made a number of phone calls in the community to see who would respond, and nobody responded. When I called the Chabad, the rabbi responded on the phone and came to my house. Now this is a situation where he never met me before, where he did not know what kind of house he was coming to, but felt the community connection to a Jewish person.
Chabad reaches out to our community in beautiful ways. They reach out in delivering the loaves of love, challah, to the people that are maybe in their homes that don't get visitors very often, or if they're in a nursing home. I've seen the rabbi go out to the hospitals and nursing homes and visit people on the drop of a dime.
I volunteer because I think giving back to the community and to the surroundings is something that we're mandated to do. We have a lot of elderly people here in nursing homes that need care and attention and visitation especially, and that's something that a lot of us could do.
We operated out of a little strip center on 41. I believe actually the rabbi first noted the piece of land, and we kept coming back though to a 4 1/4 acre parcel of land, which we now have. And then we began to negotiate for a couple of years. I guess my legal experience was of assistance of. And we worked at it for 2 years, back and forth, and agents and the bank and what have you. It was a day before Lag Bomer on 2012. I get a call from the broker that I'm negotiating with, and they said, "Do you want the piece? You can have it, but you're gonna take the whole thing." I said, "We can't take the whole thing." Called the rabbi, and we said, "Let's do it." They said, "But you gotta sign the contract the next day." We signed the contract. I was able to get in there that we have 4 months to close and to do our due diligence. We needed the 4 months because as far as money, we had bupkis. So now we had 4 months, how are we gonna raise the money? Well, lo and behold, we did that. We had assistance from George Rohr and other members in the community, and lo and behold, somehow we did it. We closed on it.
I want you to know that as a lawyer, Rob was really sweating those 4 months about that contract.
And I'd come home and I'd say to Louisa, the rabbi says, "Don't worry, the money is there, we just have to find it." And I'd say, "Okay, but we got 4 months to find it." But we found it. Yeah, so in March of 2016, we had our groundbreaking. We had to raise money to develop the land and the site. None of that is inexpensive. We had to refurbish the entire building. It is now up. It's our all-purpose building, but it ultimately will become the education center when in fact we begin, which is our next phase, our main building, if you will, of approximately 12,000 square feet, for which we have tentative architectural plans for a beautiful building.
I'd like to see a great big beautiful temple built.
I feel assured that my desire for Yiddishkeit to grow in Venice, it's going to happen. And when I'm gone, I'll be looking down from heaven and I'll be seeing these fruits.
Hopefully, when I get married, a nice Jewish girl, make a family, that it will be in this Chabad, because I don't plan on it being anywhere else. And one day, my kids will be walking around in the same halls as I did, singing the same songs and just experiencing the same thing I experienced when I was their age. And
I want to see Chabad continue to grow. It's essential that Chabad continue to be able to do the work that it does.
I would really love to see it continue and grow. So it's important to me to support it even when I'm not here. And fortunately, I am able to contribute and have done so and left the legacy. And I encourage everyone, whatever amount is available to you, to maintain the synagogue itself and have it grow in the future by leaving a legacy.
In the words of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, let's do more for the next 13 years.
The growth has been phenomenal, but there's so much more to do. Just imagine what else can be accomplished. Together we can do it. Let's do it. L'chaim.